We're back on Valks Valley. How many more podcasts are we going to do under this banner, under this Valks Valley banner, before we change the branding? I don't
You
know.
just revealed it, man.
Maybe one or two. Well, I didn't say what it was. All right. We have to talk about the biggest story in Valkyries land right now, which is the Violet the mascot who hatched out of the egg. Not the biggest story, but it's a nice little lead. One, I like the idea. Did they have to make the mascot have bad eyesight? That's my main question. Like, I thought they may have leaned a little young, but maybe a lot of the fandom, is maybe a little bit, a little bit older. Maybe that's what they lean to. But why did Violet have to have glasses? That's my question.
As someone who's needed glasses since the 3rd grade, and I imagine you've needed glasses for the majority of your life. I think
we're both wearing contacts. Can Violet wear some contacts?
Your genetics have given bad eyesight. I'm for the glasses. I feel represented as a member of the bad eyesight community that Violet.
Could they have been cool glasses? Did they have to be like on the tip of the nose like grandma glasses?
You know what Violet kind of reminds me of, and it's not a great I don't know. She kind of reminds me of like the Chuck E. Cheese mascots, like the Big Bird and like Chucky, and then also like the McDonald's like mascots they have when they did the whole, I don't know how caught in the pop culture you are, but there was the Grimace Shake takeover like a year or two ago. She kind of feels like Violet fits in one of those parties that you could just throw her into the Chuck E. Cheese thing and she'd fit right in.
So far, almost everything about the Valkyries branding, Valky Hoops, who's checking in, said that she's nearsighted. Everything has been very well marketed, right? Like the colors and the logo and Valhalla, like all of that stuff is very, very smart. And I don't dislike Violet. I actually like the idea of a mascot. I don't think it's necessarily uncool, but it's not like the coolest, in that sense. So I don't know. It may take a little while for me to get used to, but I just sense like young. But then again, this audience is the people who are in attendance are not just little kids. It's all family. So maybe that's what they were leaning to as well. But
I thought are you familiar with Ellie the elephant for the New York Liberty?
Yes.
I feel like she is kind of the target for what every team wants in a mascot. And I can almost guarantee that the Valkyries were like, how do we make our own Ellie the elephant? Because it's not like any normal mascot where like you have, the Giants, or I'm just trying to think of like the Warriors don't even have one anymore, but just like, what's his name again? Louis the Seal or something?
Lou the Seal, yeah.
Lou the Seal? I'm so sorry, I forgot that. But
Lou Seal.
He's fun out there. He throws stuff around, but like Ellie like gets in it. Like she's got some like sass girl boss to the mascot that I feel like that should be like the target for like every type of mascot. To like, it's not necessarily the character that you see in front of you. It's like the attitude and personality that the mascot itself has.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that the visual representation of the mascot matters as much as, the personality. And it feels like they're already kind of leaning into sort of like the Ellie. And I'm not familiar with the rest of the WNBA mascots. If they're all are kind of like, like Ellie, but so I don't know. We just have to wait and see, man. Maybe Violet's up there.
But who was the player who was like trying to get Violet to shoot a layup and Violet couldn't make
Quentin Post, man. Took over Pods duty. Where the hell has Pods been? You see the jokes that they're saying that like Pods was going to come out the egg?
Oh, that would have been amazing. All right. Yeah. Well, Violet is a nice little cool thing, and I'm sure there will be Violet dolls and Violet t-shirts and everything. So they'll do it well. This organization has been first class so far. All right. So what are we really going to talk about? Well, Valkyries are on a 3-game winning streak, and the last time we chatted was right before the Sparks game. They were sitting there tied for 8, and it was like, okay, post Kayla Thornton, are the Valkyries going to take a step forward or are they going to take a step backward? And if they took a step backward, it's completely like predictable and fine because they are an expansion team. You give them that grace. And they were like, nope, we are just going to make Kelsey Plum's life hell. And she's going to be so mad that she's going to kick people on the court. And they locked her down. She had a bad game. I'm sure she would say it was more her than the defense, but I thought the defense played really well. They figured out who they needed to stop. They stopped her. And then they went on to beat the Connecticut Sun. And then last night beat the Mystics, kind of let the Mystics come back a little bit. They were up 36-12 in the second quarter. Mystics got within 3, I believe, in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the closest that they would get. Valkyrie still finished off the game. It was a little Warriors-y, by the way. Kind of reminded me of like the Warriors season. But they still got it done. So 3 wins in a row. They are in 7th, actually, not even in 8th in the playoff race. And I know that you're kind of wondering if they could even get to 6. Can they pass the Fever?
I think it's very possible. And I just looking at it, the Fever are 18-15, the Valkyries are 17-15. The Valkyries have Chicago Sky next. Chicago's 1-9 in their last 10, 3-game losing streak.
Angel Reese still hurt, right?
Yeah, and I believe the Indiana Fever have the Washington Mystic in their next game. So I still don't know Caitlin's timeline. Do we know when Caitlin's coming back? Like, of course, that all like kind of hinges on that. But I think because of the uncertainty in her injury status, I think that the Valkyries could definitely pass them. And it's crazy, like how, you know, where we said last week that it kind of feels like Western Conference-y for the NBA, where everything's within a couple games. Like last week, it felt like it's okay, can you just hold off LA? Like, can you just hold the 8th seed and hold them off? And now, you know, they're in the 7th seed. Seattle dropped to 8. LA's still 9. It's like, okay, well, now can you pass Indiana at 6? And it's not necessarily worrying as much about the teams below them, although they are. But in my head, that's kind of how I'm seeing it. And you know, I've been wrong about this team a lot. I'm not afraid to admit it. I thought that they would be bad. I thought that, you know, Kayla going down would force them to miss the playoffs and have LA jump in. And while that's all still possible, the one thing I have been right about is Cecilia Zandalasini kind of taking a step here in the absence of Kayla Thornton. I feel like has been able to make her shine offensively. So we kind of have to see if that keeps up because she's just a sharp shooter. And I feel like all the wheels are kind of clicking and going right now. Like you talk about Kelsey Plum having a bad game. Like, yes, she did. But if you watch some of those possessions against Veronica Burton, she's just clamping her. Like Veronica is just taking over the guard Kayla Thornton defensive player role. And Veronica is already a great defender within herself. But I kind of feel like she got, to me, overshadowed a little bit by Kayla. But now Kayla going down, it's like, oh, wait. Veronica's kind of an all-defensive caliber defender as well, especially, of course, against the guards. And I think that's mainly who her assignment is. But, you know, getting matched up against Citron and then getting matched up against Kelsey before. And, you know, Chicago, she probably gets thrown on Ariel Atkins. So I think all kudos to Veronica for this push as well.
Wait, so do you think she's going to be in the running for most improved?
I checked the odds, and I believe she's top 3. And above her are Azare Stevens from the Sparks, and I believe it's Alicia Gray from Atlanta.
I've seen both of those folks in the mix.
And I don't know. I feel like the MIP is always a one where, like, do you look at just like stat to stat, or do you kind of, and there has to be context at some point, because, you know, in the NBA, it's just like what top rookie, not rookie, but like what top 5, top 10 rookie in their third year kind of makes like the expected jump. You remember that year where it's like Jordan Poole was in his second or third year, and it looked like after JP's first rookie season, I was like, oh my God, this guy needs to he got sent down to Santa Cruz. Like, it just did not look good for him. And then he comes into the rotation, is a big reason why they go on the push. And I might have been the championship year even, but I think John Morant won it that year. It's like, dude, John Morant was the number 2 pick and looked like an all-star in her second year. In his third year, you're going to just give it to him. So I wonder what that is. I'm not as aware of the previous winners of the MIP and the WNBA, but just thinking of Alicia Gray, right? She's just 3-time all-star. Like, I don't know, maybe more than 3, but I know back to back now she's been all-star. And I believe she went from 15 points per game to 19 to now at 17. And then Azurá Stevens has had a little bit of a jump. I could just pull up the numbers right now, but it's clear that Veronica is just jumped in every statistical category, but that's also because she went from 12 minutes per game to 28 minutes per game. Like, that's a crazy jump.
Well, I mean, you go from getting cut to being a starting point guard on a possible playoff team.
Yeah, like she was 7th woman on Connecticut last year, and then boom, just right to starting point guard. And I feel like with context here, like maybe you're wondering, is Veronica Burton like fringe WNBA player that kind of gets cut like a Julie Van Loo, and like does she have a long-standing position in this league? And I feel like if this year said anything, it's like, okay, well, she's gonna have a long career in the W. Like at worst, she's the backup point guard, and that's a really good backup point guard to have.
And the Valkyries have her partial rights for next year.
I don't know. I know everything is like in the questionable because of everyone's contract status, and maybe the Valkyries make a big splash in who they get, but I feel like I could almost guarantee that she's going to be the starting point guard for this team next year. Like she's a for sure guarantee, right? Like going into this year, it's like, I'm not sure if she was unprotected by Connecticut, like, but now
you've been talking to Kent Lakeup since he left the Warriors organization or something. You're getting some inside juice.
Haven't made contact. No.
I just, you know me. She's my favorite player to watch. I just love her doggedness.
Yes.
I love her willingness to, I mean, she's picking herself up off the floor a lot of the game. She's created a shot that doesn't seem like it should work, like this little weird kind of step back push 3-pointer that she's been able to hit. Just all the things that you look for in like a hardworking point guard. She believes, and look, I think she's talented, but she's not the most talented with the ball. She's not the most talented shooter. She's not the most talented scorer, but she puts things together in a nice little stew, and I think it works out for her. Yeah, Valky Hoops was like, yeah, when Kelsey Plum tripped her, that was just mere frustration. That was like, this girl's locking me up, and I'm going to take my frustration out on her. You know what's funny? Who Kelsey Plum reminds me of a little bit? I just started watching the Diana Taurasi, the Taurasi documentary on Amazon Prime. It's really good, by the way. But Diana Taurasi, like, historically, her personality is kind of like, she's not there to say what you want her to say or to show this personality that's like, like, oh, I'm fun. Like, she's like, no, she's like legit. She speaks her truth. She doesn't come across as like this like created person like you see in media today, in sports media. And that is something Diana Taurasi would have done just out of mere frustration, kick out their leg because, like, why not? Like, I'm so frustrated. Or dive for a steal and take out somebody's legs like that. Like, Diana Taurasi has many plays like that. And that's what that Kelsey Plum thing reminded me of, is like so mad and so competitive that you probably do something that you regret later on. Hopefully she reached out to Veronica after the game and was like, that was my bad. Like, that was just mere frustration.
Jackasses usually don't. So I don't know. But like, I know that, by the way, big fan of Kelsey Plum, but I know that I've heard, like, you have your welcome to the W moment, but like there was also like your like Diana welcome to the W moment. It was like a different thing. Like, what was your first encounter with Diana? Like, did she hit you hard coming off a screen or something like that? So,
yeah, did you get an elbow to the side?
Yeah,
but just so she was just gonna let you know that she was there.
Yeah, really quick though, let me just do this in like 10 seconds. Again, I don't know how much this factors into things just because of the complete minutes jump from Veronica, but 3.1 points per game last year, 11.2 this year. And then it's from a 12.7 minutes per game to 28.8. So that's a big jump in minutes. And of course, points too, like 3 to 11. And then just looking at Azurá, she went from 9.6 to 14.6. Well, basically, minutes was, then that was points. And then minutes 24.7 to 28.8. And then Alicia, I have it here somewhere, but I might have just a lot. No. Anyway, it was like a 19 or like a 7. It was like a 2-point jump or something, or like a 4-point jump. It was like, but like the year before she was 19, and then she went to 15, and then to 17. It's somewhere in that mix of things. But I think it's clear from like the statistical category that Veronica has out jumped everyone. So I'm a little surprised that she's third. That doesn't even factor in the defensive stuff. So I'm interested on how that award's going to play out, because to me, I think Veronica, just going from not even stats, but how you view them as a player. It's like I already viewed Alicia as like one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, a consistent all-star. And then with Veronica, I'm like, was she on her way to be like a journeywoman? And now she's a solidified, you want her on your team. Like that to me is just like a status jump more than anything.
Where's Rakia Jackson at? Because I know she was hurt, but
second-year player. I don't think
from an eye test standpoint, man, she looks like she looks like a go-to scorer, whereas last year she did not look like a go-to scorer necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know where I only saw the top 3, but I can't imagine them giving it to a second-year player unless it was like a crazy jump.
All right, so the Valkyries' next 4 games, and this is where, taking over Indiana might be a little harder than we think, because they do play Chicago on Friday, but then they play Atlanta, who has leapt over the Liberty to take over the number 2 spot. And then they got back-to-back games against the Mercury, who sit in the 4 slot for the playoffs. The Tuesday game, so basically Sunday and Tuesday are at Chase, Friday, and then the next Friday are away. And I don't know, Atlanta, Phoenix, your next 3 games after that Chicago game, that's going to be tough.
What's the home away on? So I know it's home against Atlanta on Sunday.
Then home Tuesday, at Phoenix on Friday.
And looking at like Indiana, we got home against Washington, at Connecticut, home against Minnesota, at Minnesota. They got back-to-back Minnesota games home away. So very possible, because we see Indiana again, right? Yeah, we do. We see them on August 31st. Presumably Caitlin's back, and I believe that's at Valhalla.
And that will be the first game that she plays in San Francisco if she does play, because she missed the first one, right?
No, I think she did play in San Francisco.
Did she play?
I think she missed the second. Yeah, she missed the second one when they were at.
That's what
Indiana.
It was.
So I mean, we said last pod they kind of have their number, so we'll see.
Last week you mentioned, when we talked about who could possibly be the go-to players with Kayla gone, you mentioned Cecilia Zandalasini as a possibility, and she'd struggled. When she was in the starting lineup, they actually had a losing record, and these last several games, she has shown out. The shot has always looked sweet, but it looks sweeter than ever because she's heat checking in some of these games where she's like, I'm hot and this thing is going up. And she's been tremendous. Now, some of it is because she's just so hot from 3. Like that's where she's shooting the majority of her shots. But I think, part of these last several games and, winning. Now, the Sparks were hot. I would consider them a good team because they were hot. But it's not like the Sun and the Mystics are world beaters. But still, you got to beat who's in front of you. And she has just absolutely came to play. What do you think about Zandalasini?
I kind of think it's a little bit of like finally getting some consistent games under her belt. Like if you remember, to start, Talbot and Zandalasini were both out. Talbot came back in like game 3 or something, or game 4. I don't think Zandalasini played until like, I don't know, it felt like a while until she first played, and then she goes to Eurobasket and then comes back, and then had that injury that was out for like 3 to 4 games recently, or 2 to 3 games recently. So I almost think it's like consistency with the Valkyries under her belt to like get more comfortable. And then of course, Kayla going down has created the opportunity for her to start and to be a consistent starter and not have to worry about, getting pulled and stuff like that. So I don't think it's like she's necessarily like changed too much, just outside of the fact that she's gotten to play consistently.
Mm-hmm. And she hasn't been hurt. Yeah.
She hasn't been hurt. So yeah, like it just looks like I do wonder what the defensive adjustments are when it comes to playing some of the better teams, because like, how does she get any space ever? Just on catch and shoots. Like, why is she ever wide open? Like, why are we not selling it? But again, the Valkyries do have like good 3-point shooters. I think Veronica's shooting like 38. Tip, although it's felt like her 3-point percentage and maybe attempts have gone down, like I think she's still a respectable 3-point shooter.
Yeah, she's still over 40% as of last night. But I don't think she made one last night. I think maybe she only took 1 or 2, and I think she missed them.
Not that this changes anything, but I actually finished the game before we recorded. And so, of course, it's fresh on my mind. And I did notice that either in the second or the third, I thought it was a little clear that Washington was forcing Temi to like make a pass, and they were just stealing it. Like 3 turnovers in a row in the second or third quarter from Temi didn't come back into the game. So a lot of repair minutes. And then I forgot what they did to close it. I wonder if they went small, but no, I think Ileana Repair closed it, but I thought
Repair got a lot of run, and I was actually surprised at her lack of chucking it, because there were moments where I thought she was going to shoot it and she didn't. She made the right pass, but you know, I just thought when you have such a strong 3-point shooter as a big, like just the threat of her, maybe the threat of her just opens up the offense for them. But I want to see her pull the trigger even more than she did. She did hit one in the corner yesterday. I think I think it was maybe a Zandalasini swing. Zandalasini drew the entire team and threw it to the corner for Repair. They don't really, without Kayla, they don't really play small though, right? Like, can you think of a lineup of them where they're not playing Janelle at center and just run it? Like they have at least one big on the floor pretty much at all times, I think.
I think you're right. I mean, did they do that before Repair came and Monique was healthy? Even then, I feel like Monique was always at least they had Monique.
Yeah, maybe that's the, you know, she's probably more 4 than 5, but she's still she plays more. She plays like a big though. She may not be as big as
she's like a Valkyries 5.
Yeah,
and like I mean they have 4 centers under roster right now, so I don't see them going small. If anything, they go bigger.
Yeah, I think so. I think they feel like they need to have somebody with some presence on the inside, and all of the, you know, Fag Benley is very athletic for her size, so it's not like she's a slow big. You know, Rupert's not as athletic as Fag Benley, but she has that ability to shoot, so she stretches it in that way. I'm actually gonna. So, by the way, Caitlin Clark. The only thing I could find on her was that she has not yet returned to full practice, but she has been doing full court running and on court movements. So that's the latest on her. That doesn't sound like she's coming anywhere close to returning, though.
Yeah. I feel like, what is it? It's August 14th. They play on the 31st. Feels like she'll be there and playing, but I guess that does, you know, the wonder here is how much longer she'll be out, so that the Fever will have to play without her. The Valkyries might be able to jump. So yeah, I don't know, but kind of just an extra point back to how the Valkyries play with like size or not. Like they are playing against Atlanta on Sunday, and I believe in both iterations of the starting lineup in the 2 games they've played against Atlanta, it was Monique at the 4, Temi at the 5. So they started with double big, and it's probably depending on who's healthy for Atlanta, because Atlanta goes Bree Jones and Brittany Griner. So they just match it with double big, and they say our bigs can run faster than yours. So I imagine it's a Illy Repair at the 4, Temi at the 5 to start that Atlanta game.
Ghost of I know this is a soccer name, and I'm going to screw it up and show my lack of soccer knowledge. Ghost of Geralitis says, "Wishing me here would get more minutes. She's a runner." Like if you really wanted to go small, and you know you do like kind of the NBA 2K gimmick where you put like a super fast player at center to beat the other center down the court. That's oh yeah, it is a tennis name, not a soccer name. What was I thinking? I think the picture threw me off. You would put Ami here at center and just say, okay, sprint down the court, beat the 5 down, and we get layups. But she also is very slim of stature.
Yeah, I mean they have these bigs. All their bigs are not the prototypical bigs. They're like either fast or can stretch. Like Temi, like you said, very athletic, can run up and down. Ami here the same way, run up and down. Repair, shoot. And then Monique can run up and down too. So yeah, I mean, I like their versatility of bigs. I do wonder about the ME here, like another DMP last night, and the other times if it wasn't a DMP, it's last 2 minutes we have this game secured. So I don't know. I think they're just like we have Temi and Rupert. We're just gonna keep switching both of them. There hasn't been a need for, and maybe there will be a need for a me here if you're gonna start both bigs against Atlanta. And I know we're skipping over the Chicago game here, but come on. But
but what those games are called? Those games are called trap games.
They are.
Let's take a look at the lineups of late, because we had a comment on the YouTube channel the other day, and somebody said, when Caitlin Chen plays, the Valkyries win. And so someone else had popped in and said, like, you're like, are you being serious or not, or something like that. But it is kind of funny because Caitlin Chen is a serviceable backup point guard when you need minutes. But you would very much prefer Veronica be on the court instead of Caitlin. But in some points of the season, it was almost like Natalie Nakase was going like, okay, we're going to get as many people on the court as possible. And then the Sparks game, she was like, we're playing this like a playoff, and we're only playing 8. And that has been kind of the way that she's done it since that Sparks game. It was almost like, we have a real shot at making the playoffs. We are preparing our team to play like we're going to be in the playoffs. And we're shortening this rotation. I've gotten a lot of data from all of the game footage, and we've seen a lot. We've given everyone a chance to play. And now here's what the output is, which is we're going with our best 8. And I was actually shocked because I didn't expect it, but I was like, all right, she's going for it. And it was actually really cool to see the rotation get shortened.
Yeah. I mean, if Natalie's told us anything this entire year, it's that she just wants to win and, doesn't care as much about what next year looks like or the year after. She's just like, I have what's in front of me and we're going to make it work. I almost wonder if the lack of Caitlin minutes, though, has also kind of gone hand in hand with the way Carla's kind of changed. And I only thought about this right now, but like you think of some of the earlier in the season, like Carla a little more sporadic, like always getting to the free throw line because she's just driving to the rim. And I kind of feel like we haven't seen a lot of that lately. And I almost wonder if that's by design, that she's kind of running the offense how Natalie wants her to.
She's playing more like a point guard for sure.
Yes. So I think that when Carla's playing like the sporadic, like just kind of out of control, but also like good chaos in a way, like then they were like, okay, we want to put you out there with Caitlin because Caitlin Chen's she's gonna slow us down a little bit and be like the seasoned vet out there, even though she's just a rookie. But yeah, Carla kind of changing that, because I just thought about it. I haven't felt like we have seen that many like Carla just like dive to the rim where she just ends up like a big player just like lands on her.
Or just chucking threes as well.
The threes have looked better. Like I know that percentage probably still isn't that great, but just if you pull post All-Star break, I bet you it looks solid and it looks more believable. Like instead of being like, I know this one isn't going in, I do think that I'm like, oh, she actually might make this one, and she has been. So yeah.
Ghost says, don't you risk injury by stressing 8? And
Yes.
you may a little bit. You still got. I'm sure Natalie is going to pick and choose her spots. I think at the end of that, the end of the Connecticut game, you did see some of the reserves get in. Yesterday, you did not, and I think that was because Washington made a late comeback. Yeah, I mean they made a comeback, and so you weren't able to. But at the same time, if you get Billings back, then you figure her into the rotation, and maybe it is 9 instead of 8. But at the same time, if you have faith in your bench, like if you believe that if needed, Caitlin can slot right in for Carla if Carla was to get hurt, then it's just sort of like next person up, who's ready. We have these roles. So Valky asked, when does Mo come back? So the information that I saw was when she got hurt, which was about 2 weeks ago, They said she's going to be reevaluated in 3 weeks. So we're not even at the reevaluation standpoint for Mo. So it does
And
sound like
after
she's gonna miss.
reevaluation, it's probably at least another week.
Yeah, she's going to miss several more games. So but look, Rupert's getting more run, right? Rupert is figuring out.
That's probably
her
good that
role.
she's, came in with very recently, like was it like the beginning of August she came, like August 6th or something, that she's getting this opportunity to kind of figure it out with this roster. Similarly to how, like I was saying, like, Chechi just needed like games under her belt with this team to kind of figure it out. So it's in a way, it's probably good that Rupert's getting this extended run. But yeah.
So one of the things that I've been kind of paying attention to is last night, Veronica Burton gets her career high. She goes for 30. I think Chechi also got her career high, right? Didn't she go for 20? And so what this does to me is it takes some pressure off of Janelle to be a scorer, and Janelle can just play smart basketball. I didn't sense that she was forcing a lot of stuff in these at least the last couple games. Like, I thought she was taking really smart shots and really good shots. And she wasn't getting the grenade at the end of the shot clock. Like, they didn't really have any of those problems of late. And they will, especially like when they play someone like Atlanta, because Atlanta is just going to rearrange their shot opportunities because they're so long. But Janelle seems to be playing with a lot more confidence and maybe less like pressure to be like a go-to scorer or like a clutch scorer, and she's just letting the game. Like, she's not even really taking the bad, and not bad because she's tall, so she can get these shots off, but she's not taking the contested shots as much anymore, and she's comfortable swinging it, knowing that her teammates are going to be able to hit open shots. So that's the thing that I've really liked about Janelle's game over the last week.
I actually have a tweet for this, and I don't know if you guys follow Hunter Cruz on X.
Oh,
but I think Hunter's a must follow.
I'm
really good stuff.
Follow right now.
Hunter tweeted, "Since the All-Star break, Golden State has completely flipped Janelle Salon's shot diet. Over the last 10 games, she's up to 2.4 field goals attempted per game from 0 to 5 feet, and that was at 1.2 pre-All-Star. And then she's down to 1.6 field goals attempted per game from 10 to 19 feet, 2.8 pre-All-Star. So it kind of goes hand in hand with what you're saying, which is maybe smarter shots, doesn't get the grenade. There's still some stuff where it's like yesterday, she got an offensive rebound and it pulled her out to the left corner, and immediately she takes like a little fadeaway, like long mid-range. And I was like, I don't know if that's a shot, but she's great. And I think just, and I do critique her, but I am like, she's probably my favorite player. I like watching Carla, maybe the most, Veronica too, maybe Tip, maybe the most, but I think Janelle's like our, just someone who I want on this team for a very, very long time. She's definitely my favorite player on this current roster. But there's just, some of those long middies that feel forced. And I will say that's felt like it's gone down. And I wonder if that's also because Chechi's taking some of that pressure off of hitting those shots. And I think they play well together. And you don't get that if this team is better with Kayla, but you don't get that if Kayla goes down as much. Those two kind of just playing together all the time. And I think it's a good fit.
How do you spell Hunter Cruz's Twitter name?
Hunter as regularly spelt. Cruz is Cruse, and then 14, the number 14.
Okay, there we go. Hunter Cruz, WNBA and prospect scouting. Okay, I'm already following Hunter.
I will be asking Hunter to be on this podcast when it comes to draft time, and we can get Colorado back on. We could have an all-star lineup of guests for the draft.
Hunter looks like a youngster.
Yeah.
Hunter and is also followed by Conrado, so they may.
There you go. Stamp of
know
approval
each other
for the podcast.
There you go. All right. So, is there anybody else on the team that you kind of want to talk about? Their improvement or not, or rotation or whatever. And if not, we can move on to kind of the last part of the show.
I think Tip's kind of drive and kick has looked like it almost looks a little crazier than in the beginning of the season, but some of those passes she gets off are just like pretty incredible. Like, I think there was a few Kate Martin 3-pointers in that LA game that were just completely, it was directly from a crazy Tip driving kick. And I know she was doing driving kicks earlier in the season as well, but I just feel like these are like I just watch it and I'm just like in awe of like, they always say the driving, like you jump passes aren't good, right? Like the whole Tyrese Halliburton thing where he's like, no, jump passes are good. But your coaches always tell you don't jump pass. But Tip's got it down like almost like Halliburton does in some ways. So that's kind of, yeah. Who else is getting run? Like Kate's kind of been a little bit of a consistent rotation player. That probably leads some Caitlin Chen.
Her job is literally just to sit in the corner and shoot threes.
Yeah. I wonder, like, it also made me think watching the game. I was like, dude, just having you stay in that spot.
I know.
Buckets.
Well, you know what? The other thing about you stay, by the way, there's a new, you turned me on to a podcast called Bounce?
Yeah.
And they did an episode right after the opener. And the host said you stay's full name as well and did not get it. So
she didn't listen to this podcast. Well, I didn't get it right either. So
it's not just us. I think what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to take the audio of you saying her own name
and with a good mic though.
Yeah.
AirPod stuff.
We just need we need her to say it correctly. Now, is it Yot Site?
That's what I think. Yot
Site. Okay. No, but if you think about how Yuste would fit into this offense, she would probably be doing a lot of the tip decision making where she would have the ball and she would kind of work the perimeter, pass or shoot. I don't know if she would get to the hole as much as Tip gets to the hole. And by the way, Tip's lefty, like layup where she stretches out that arm, it looks so pretty. I imagine it's going to fall a little bit more than it's been falling of late, but I love it when she goes so hard to her left and it's just hanging right there. And I think that's going to be very important for her to get late buckets in clutch games near the end of the season.
Speaking of lefties, so is Yuste.
Yep.
So she got lefties on the roster. I think at the very least, just like I mean, we're not going to get into next season. The only last thing I'll say about Yuste is like I think at the start of the season she'll be in like the Kate Martin role where, maybe some inconsistent minutes but you just get to like catch and shoot wide open.
She's going to force herself into some minutes.
I totally think so too. I'm just thinking of like the start of the year, but like I think that's like she's overqualified for that role, and I think Kate Martin's great. Like I know I said last podcast that she's probably the greatest expansion selection ever. I didn't mean that as like a diss. I kind of just meant it like everyone, they still want her. That's better than what you can ask for. And a lot of these situations.
She's beloved. She's popular. She seems like a really cool lady. I mean, she's perfect in the role that she's at. She's the eighth or ninth person on the team. She can hit an open shot. She's gonna try her hardest on defense, and she doesn't seem to have an issue when Natalie's like, okay, like we need to take you out for whatever reason strategically. She's like, got it, I'm out. And she's going to cheer for her team. Like she seems like really the perfect teammate. And as the league expands and as we bring in 3 more teams over the next couple years, she's going to have a job. Like that's just what it is. She's going to be good peoples on somebody's bench. So,
yep.
Ghost says, do we think she's going to be around in 2026? Probably not, because she's probably going to get picked up in the expansion draft. That would be my guess. But
I agree with you.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get to some other things here. So actually, you know what? Let's talk a little bit about the rest of the league here. What about those Las Vegas Aces, man? They actually look like a not quite a contender. Like they're not quite in that like top 2 or 3, but Asia looks better than ever. She looks like the best player in the league, especially with Collier out. I mean, she's been unstoppable.
I mean, Asia is the best player in the league. I don't think MVP is always who's the best player in the league. It's just who's the best that season. But I think Asia's been the best player in the league for like the past 5 years or 4 years or something. So I think like there were some stats earlier in the season where it's like Asia currently leads the team in this game in points, rebounds, and assists. It's like, what the hell? That can't be happening, even though how good she is. But what, now they're 5th 7-3 in their last 10. They're, 1.5 maybe out of do they have a games back thing here? They do. They're one game back from fourth place in Phoenix. And God, I just hope we don't see them. I hope we don't see
bad
Minnesota,
matchup.
New York, and Vegas is who I don't want to see.
You know what? They could play with New York a little better than those other two teams, but yeah, they'll be 2 in barbecue for sure. But
they've had good games against New York, but I just worry that just casually adding Emma Meesum into your team and
she had 24 the other night.
Like, what?
They lost though. They lost to the Aces.
But you can also argue that they're still, figuring everything out. Jonquel was out when Meesum came in, so Meesum was able to just like kind of take her spot while she was out. But now Jonquel's back, so how do you figure out the rotations? I think this is a good time for them, for Sandy Brondello to figure out the rotations and kind of lead into postseason. They're not figuring this out in postseason. They have these last 12 games to figure it out.
I do wonder if the league was a little bit more competitive for like maybe those top 4 spots, if the injury timeline would be a little bit different for some of these top players. Because like if you're Brianna Stewart or if you're New York and Minnesota, you're like, okay, like Minnesota already locked up a playoff spot and we still have like 15 games left in the season or whatever. So they're so far ahead. And if it wasn't like that, or if we maybe were later in the season, you do wonder if these ladies would be playing. But if they don't, if you're resting them for the playoffs, you want them for that stretch playoff run, because that's a tournament, man, and that's going to be the hardest basketball that they play. So it kind of goes back to what Ghost was talking about, is making sure that you have a strong 8, but at the same time for the Valkyries, you kind of have to go for it now. You can't really wait, because if you wait and you wait too long, you may miss the playoffs. And it looks like the Valkyries definitely want to get in the mix and be that like historical team, right? The historical expansion team to make the playoffs. It would be a big little thing. It won't be the banner necessarily for them. Like Joe Lacob's not hanging that in Valhalla, but I think it'd be a nice thing for them, especially because they still say that they're supposed to win a title within the first 5 years of the franchise. So that's a really, really good step.
Totally. I think I saw something that was like the Detroit Shock are like the greatest expansion team of all time from a win-loss record.
Were they like 500?
I think they got, how many wins do the Valkyries have right now? 17.
The Valkyries have 17.
I think the Detroit Shock got to 17. So the Valkyries have tied the most winningest expansion team of all time. And they're clearly going to beat that number.
Yeah, because so there's 44 games in a season, and they've played 32, so there's 12 games left.
Yep. And I think Veronica,
you go 6-6, you got 23 wins.
I read that on Marissa and Jemmy's story that Veronica is the first Valkyrie to score 30 this year. I guess I had to like double take. I was like, is it? And then I was like, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. 30 is pretty crazy. 30 is a crazy number to hit.
It's a crazy number. What did the team get to? 88? Is that what they got to? So yeah, it's a nice chunk of that 88. All right, let's do a little bit of a prediction for these next few games here. I think we're both predicting win for Chicago.
Oh, a nightmare if they lose it. Not a nightmare, but just
a jinx, a little bit of a jinx. And hopefully not a trap game.
But it's not like a like the last Chicago game was, where it's like the 5th leg of this long road trip. It's like they were, this was the first game in Washington, and then tomorrow they're in Chicago, and then they're back home.
Yeah.
So
true.
Less of a trap than I feel like the last one was. That last one was ugly against Chicago. You could tell they were just tired, and they were just like, thank God Chicago's so bad, and they were missing so many players.
Would you be happy with a win in Chicago, a loss at home against Atlanta, and a split with the Phoenix?
No, I think that's the most realistic option. But I think you especially want Atlanta at home.
Can they beat Atlanta at home though? Is it realistic?
They beat them on the road. And they almost beat them on the road the first time, even though I don't know what the points ended up after that first game. But I've said on this podcast multiple times, you change a few things, you had the game for 3.5 quarters. So I think they were leading every single quarter, going into every single quarter or something like that in that first game that they ended up losing. So I definitely think they can beat Atlanta at home. But I think Atlanta's full squad now. The second game they played, they did not have to face Ryan Howard, and she is back. So
that first game, which was July 7th, Alicia Gray had 24. And in that second game, Valkyries won that second game, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that was the Zandalasini 3.
That was the infamous
the bucket. That was the bucket.
That was the infamous green monster getting thrown onto the court. That was the first game it happened.
That is so bad.
So
I'm like literally embarrassed for people to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you hear Xena basically say, when did shame go away? Because if we still had shame, we need to show these people who are doing this and shame them out of doing this.
Yeah, I'm completely with Xena and Sabrina on it. Like, it was funny after the first one, and then the second one, it's like, okay, and then it just kept happening, and then you figure out why it happened and who it came from, and it just ruins everything.
Is it really the crypto bro stuff? Is that really?
I'm trusting Ben. I mean, Ben did the full report, full story on it, and that's what it sounds like. Some meme coin or whatever. Like, I feel as lost as I did with the NFT stuff. I don't even know what that world is.
Yeah, it's a crazy world.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have some basketball, man. Ann Killian from the San Francisco Chronicle. She wrote an article that I like. That I was like, I feel you. That we've talked about doing the Giants game, Valkyries game on the same day, kind of thing. Like, we've seen people do that.
I was wondering if you were going to do it when you went to the Giants game.
Yeah, it was. If I had more time, I would have done it. But I think like, she wrote this article and she was like, you have these two franchises. They have similar records, yet you are so unfulfilled by the Giants. And even though the Valkyries are not world beaters, you are so enthused by the Valkyries. Now, some of this is just that the expectations are so much different. Like,
totally,
the Valkyries don't have expectation as an expansion team, but they are outplaying whatever you thought they would do. And the Giants, on the other hand, they're just such a disappointment, and they're like connected in this interesting way because they only play, I don't know, what is that, about like 2 miles? The parks are like 2 miles away from the arena or something like that.
Is it even 2? Probably do 2 on the dot, if that, like maybe less.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting because I was like, I feel you. I do a podcast about the Giants, and I'm so frustrated and so embarrassed and so like just disappointed. And then you do this show with the Valkyries, and we can be critical about certain things, but you're just so excited to watch them play because they're just overperforming what you thought that could even be possible. So
yeah, it just feels like the Valkyries are playing with house money, and the Giants have to worry. Like, it's like the Dodgers get everyone, and the Giants, like, this is a fun season.
Dodgers are playing bad too. The Giants could just scrape together a few wins that might be interesting, but because the Dodgers are playing bad too, but the Giants are just terrible team right now.
Maybe it's different if the Valkyries got Rafael Devers at the deadline. We'd have higher expectations.
Who would be the Rafael Devers of the WNBA? All right, so this week on this network, we're going to record another episode of We Want Winners. So 49ers are back in town, or back in the mix. They have a playoff game, exhibition game on Saturday against the Raiders. And I guess like some of the starters may actually play. So that might be more fun than usual. Rod and I will get back together and we will put out an episode Monday morning on audio and video. Then Brad and I will be back later on Monday to go live on this YouTube channel. And then we'll put the audio up for Tuesday morning. And then Brian and I will be back next week. And we'll see. We may be able to talk a little bit more about the change in branding here for this podcast specifically. Nope, it is not going to be called Violet the Raven podcast. We are not changing it to Violet. Violet may have her own podcast at some point. That might be the new thing, the mascot podcast. All right. If Violet wanted a podcast, don't you think people would listen?
I don't know. I think it would be almost criminal to give the mascot like a human English voice. American voice. Like that would just be weird.
If Violet needs a home, man, we are available.
Oh man.
We would put it up. We would definitely put up a Violet the Mascot podcast. All right, that is it from here. Thanks to Ghost. Thanks for Valky Hoops for checking in and hanging out with us. It's fun when we get some live comments on this show, because sometimes they think of things that I was like, oh yeah, it's a good point. We should bring that up in the show. For Bri, I am Double G. We will see you when we see you. Peace out.